Joining in with us, we have a very special guest. We have Bimlendra Jha, CEO Tata Steel UK with us. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining in. I just want to start off by talking a little bit about the plans for the revamped deal on the pension scheme. Mr. Jha, could you just throw more light on what exactly this means? Because clearly it seems like investors are pleased.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. First of all, I must say that I'm very pleased to announce that there is a launch of consultation for the British Steel pension scheme, closing to future accruals. As you are all aware, the investing community is aware that this is an important step for de-risking the business because of the vagaries of the pension fund, particularly due to valuation risks. But this also requires us to work forward with the trustees to protect what has been earned by the people, and people should not be much worse off. And at least 50% of the pensioners out of 130,000 pensioners would have fallen into PPF with a worse outcome. And what we are trying to ensure is that they get a better outcome than what would have been available to them through the PPF route. I must also say that all this is subject to our delivery of the transformation plan that has been essential behind it to ensure the affordability for investing in the future. And, of course, we have given certain commitments about operations of the blast furnaces, etc. But that is what essentially this whole thing is about.
Mr. Jha, this is Ashwin Mohan here from the ET Now studios in Mumbai. Firstly, thank you so much for taking out time and speaking first and exclusive to us. Clearly, the markets seem to have reacted positively to this significant agreement that you have reached with the workers of Port Talbot. Your stock is up 4.5%. Could you tell us how this particular move in terms of reaching a middle ground with the workers helps to de-risk your company? And also, if you could throw some light on the changes made to the pension scheme, because we understand that the pension scheme was one of the main reasons why bidders were a bit uncomfortable.
Okay, so thanks, Ashwin, for that question, because it is important for us to realize that de-risking of the business comes from several factors. One of the factors is, of course, the vagaries of the pension fund, which, when valued under certain set of assumptions, can suddenly cause huge variation in its future liabilities. And by separating the pension fund from the company, we isolate the company from the vagaries of those kind of valuations. And you would imagine that 130,000 members are currently being supported by around 10,000 active employees. This is an unbalanced situation and can put company at significant risk. What we seek to do is that we would be closing the future accruals of the British Steel pension scheme, and then working with the trustees and the government, we would be going forward and finding out solution for 130,000 pensioners in a manner that while there is a pension lifeboat in UK, which is called PPF, this PPF is detrimental to at least 50% of our 130,000 members. And we don't want them to be in that situation. This is the most responsible thing to do. However, this portion of de-risking is not be-all and end-all of it. The company has to have continuity into the future. And therefore, it is very important that the company stands on its own legs. And this is not about the pensions. It is about the transformation plan that the company needs to have under all weather conditions. Because as you know, the tailwinds might be helping in a short term, but you cannot rely on the tailwinds, and there are adequate number of headwinds that are visible in terms of the commodity prices rising. So what we are trying to do is to have a transformation plan that creates the affordability that allows the company to invest in the future. And this is very key, that we have targeted around £200 million of EBITDA as the minimum base on which we need to then build our investment plans and are able to service the interest costs, working capital fluctuations, etc. The company has indeed given assurances to the employees about continuation of 2 blast furnaces until 2021 and also an employment pact until 2021, but you would know that transformation plan success is the essence of this whole program of self-sustainability.
Mr. Jha, clearly you have given a lot of commitments to the workers' union, and their support is indeed very important as far as the long-term sustainability of Port Talbot is concerned. But, from a market's point of view, there are some analysts who are of the opinion that in terms of committed investments, there needs to be some clarity because they fear that the plant might turn out to be loss-making again. What do you have to say in that regard? What are some of the long-term investment plans that you have to keep the plant up and going, and also to ward away any market fears regarding the plant turning loss-making? Because at the end of the day, this is just an initial step, but there are many more steps that you have to take to make it continuously and effectively viable in the long term, Mr. Jha.
You're absolutely right that there is that kind of a fear would be genuine, and particularly, as I mentioned, about the headwinds that are being seen. And therefore, it is extremely important to continue to work on the transformation plan, which is about a whole range of stakeholders who have to participate in order to make the turnaround possible. And just to give you an example, the Welsh government, yesterday we were there together with them, and they have reaffirmed their commitment towards investments in R&D, training, innovation, energy schemes, etc. And they have reiterated that. There is also support from employees in a big way on a transformation journey that allows us to get to that magic number of 200 million pounds of EBITDA that ensures under all weather conditions that we are able to afford the investments into the future. And as we keep on making those investments, they are value-creating investments, particularly in the downstream assets. As we invest more value for higher differentiated products, they are also likely to give us better platform than more commoditized end of the business. So there are, of course, no guarantees of success, but the way we have seen the transformation plan working in the last few months, keeping our commitments along the annual planning process, I think all this is giving us greater confidence. But in a market which is so volatile, the times that are so challenging, it is obvious that different stakeholders have to play their role, and we are lobbying with the British government together with all other steel makers to make sure that our energy costs, for example, are very high in UK compared to, let's say, mainland Germany. And we do expect that now the government actually comes out with a plan to create a level playing field.
Clearly, these are volatile times indeed for the entire steel industry. But if you could just give us a sense of what's the road ahead, what's the next step? Now that you have reached a middle ground with the workers, is this a done deal? Will this be put to vote at any stage?
Yes, it will be put to vote for because the consultation begins for the closure of British Steel Pension Scheme to future accruals, and that requires consent of the workers. The workers are fully aware that their future lies in their hands. They also need to know that the entire commitment about capex, etc., is a question of affordability, and that affordability can only come from the success of the transformation plan.
Mr. Jha, you used two very significant words, de-risking and sustainability. And, whenever it comes to any M&A transaction, these two factors are very important when it comes to a potential JV partner's point of view. And here, of course, I'm referring to ThyssenKrupp, which is a potential JV partner. Would you concur that after this revised agreement has been reached with the workers' union, that perhaps today Tata Steel UK is in a much more comfortable position to explore a potential JV with peers like ThyssenKrupp? Do the entire operations become even more attractive for a potential JV partnership?
We should not elude ourselves that we are not yet in a fit and fine position. We are better. We are much better than where we were last year. But there is still significant room for improvement before we can say, in the language of musicals that you play, that you're out of the danger zone. So I would say that we need to take it cautiously, continue to put our heads down and continue to work on the transformation plan so that there is a confidence from all stakeholders in the continuity of the business. And as you would be aware, that as a responsible citizen, Tatas always want, in the interest of the communities, to continue with the employment and the welfare of the communities. And that is only possible through sustainability. That is what we are working on. And I guess all other aspects of making yourself more attractive to a joint venture, etc., are merely corollaries.
I'm aware, Mr. Jha, that we've got you at a terrible timing, which is why I have just one last question to ask you. Investors are curious, and I heard you mention as well the magic number of £200 million EBITDA on which your investment is based. By when do you think that you will achieve this number, and is there any timeline set in place to get this number?
See, we are working constantly towards that timeline, and there can be an illusion with the tailwinds, but it is an all-weather EBITDA, and that is the target we, in a 1 or 2 year time frame that we want to achieve. But our real target is to try and achieve a £300 million EBITDA in 3 to 5 years time frame, because that's when you are clearly out of the danger zone, and there is a return also possible for the for the investors. So it is very important to realize that self-sustainability is the key, but it is also a function of all stakeholders playing